All right, my friends, here we are at Thursday night, 8:30 at BB3 TV, Back from the Dead, the near-death experience, and more now. So we're going to talk a little bit of variety. Our guest tonight is Amy Pomar. So interesting story, a lot of great point of views in the world. We'll get to that in like I said, moments. But first, I'm going to bring somebody on off the cuff, a BB3 TV host. We're going to talk about him for a moment, and he's going to conduct this interview with me a little bit. So, Dustin, welcome in, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me, my friend.
What's up, man? Off the cuff, tell me about it.
Well, it's just pretty much what it is. It's off the cuff. We like to interviews, interview random people. We talk about anything. I don't care what it is, and it's kind of just it's off the cuff. We don't really plan anything. We just hey, let's get in here and let's just talk like normal people. Let's not structure this so it sounds like it's all kind of fabricated. It's just real people, real talk, man. That's what we're all about.
That's what I love about it. I forgot to do one thing here. Let's put this up just in case, because words could get a little bit mouthy sometimes. Warning, indeed. All right. So what time do you go on, brother?
So we go on Tuesdays, Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we go on Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a kind of like a health and fitness guru coach that comes on. His name is Mark. He's super awesome. He's going to have his own show on the BB3 network here soon. Super excited about that. This guy's super knowledgeable. And his knowledge is gold. And really, if you have an opportunity, join us on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. for that show, because it really is just packed full of good stuff to make your life and your health, better.
Absolutely. Friend Diana's right there. Dustin, let me ask you something. The near-death experience, it fascinates you, right?
Oh, to no end.
Okay. Why?
So look, nobody can talk about what comes next that hasn't died and been there, right? We can sit here and say, look, we've captured ghosts on camera, and we've got images, we've got EVPs, we've got things that tangible evidence, and that's all fine and good. Okay, but see, you can debunk a lot of that stuff. Anybody who's got a very skeptical mind, I'm a very skeptical person, just by nature. But put that aside. The near-death experience, man, they were there. They tasted the afterlife. They experienced the afterlife. So, that's fascinating to me. And what's really more interesting is the stories they come back with and how consistent they all seem to be. Exactly. But yet there's the consistencies there. But then there's also this different, this colorful tone that just it's different for everybody, yet it's still the same. What a cool experience. It fascinates the living hell out of me, dude.
Well, let's talk to Amy about this. Amy is a woman on a mission. She necessarily has not had a near-death experience in this case. However, though, she's let's ask her.
Hi.
Hey.
Amy.
Hey. Wow,
Go ahead.
Dustin, I have so much to say. I can tell you so many things. And the first one is that you actually don't necessarily have to die to go and experience some time of that kind of stuff. So I had a shared near-death experience.
It is a near death. So not necessarily death, but people do die, yes, and come back with incredible stories.
They do. And it's, those stories are so healing, and there's hundreds and thousands, and they've been happening for hundreds of thousands of years. We're not the first, we're not the last, and we're not the only people to be able to die and come back. And some call that reincarnation. Some have a shorter break and they have a near death and then they come back. And then there's other people who are with the ones who are dying, the nurses, the doctors, the family, the random stranger, any of them. And sometimes when you're physically close enough to someone who is going through that process, your electromagnetic field changes and starts to react and with them, and you guys kind of grow together in electromagnetic field. And with that happening, they can actually take you with them for a short amount of time as they pass over from being conscious in this world to being birthed into the next part of their life. And sometimes we're lucky enough to go with them. And actually, we have these experiences all the time, and we just don't know them. It's the great unknown has been removed from man's history and from who we are inside, so that we don't remember, so that we can follow rules well, and that we can, you know, go this way or go that way, and you know, those are the layers and the veils, and it has everything to do with your perception here, absolutely nothing to do with who you are on the inside.
Okay, that's fascinating.
Okay.
Kisa, let's say hi to our friends real quick. Kisa's here. What's up, Kisa? There's my sister Genevieve.
Hey.
Also part owner of BB3 TV. Amy, what is your mission? We talked about this. This was our one of our main our key hits right here. Amy's mission.
This happened as a result of having a shared near-death experience with my mother in 2007 when she died, and I'll go back to that in a second. But since that time, well, when that happened, I knew without a doubt that I had had an experience, and it kind of quieted it down a little bit, and life went on for a couple of years, and then I just started kind of having this knowing of things, very, very strong knowing of weird things, like ancient aliens had just come on, and I could tell you all about what they were talking about, and they would make me so mad because they would use neuro-linguistic programming to invest your emotions into the alien, and they would never give you an answer, and I'd be like, but it's there, it's right there. And so as soon as you started seeking more information and to validate your knowing, then the whole world of things you can't see opens up, and they come right to you. It's a phenomenal world out there.
When you say they, are you? Sorry, I mean, Dom. When you say they, you're referring to spirits, people that just haven't gone on.
Everybody, not us. On this, yeah. So I'm sure you've heard that we're a matrix, or maybe you've heard that this is all an illusion, and you know, and we, you know, this is all a movie for us specifically here, but which is great, and it's a concept that is not wrong. But it never tells you how it interacts with other people. It's like, that's great if this is my movie, but I think you're a human being and you're alive. And if this is my movie, what are you doing in my movie, right? And then you get the explanation, well, it's all divine destiny, or it's all this. Well, I don't, that's a great way to get me to just have faith, right? But that doesn't really answer any questions at all. And so there's got to be an answer. So you keep going, and basically, and I'm sorry, I reference television and movies a lot, because a lot of this information is already out there. Any type of creation where you are moving out of the confines of who you are into something bigger and better, spiritually, politically, educationally, morally, physically, any way you do it, you know, you leave behind the old you every single second, and you move forward with the new you every single second. So the first thing to understand about this other world is that we move linearly and they don't. So your past, present, future, all the spirits who are around you, God, creation, everything that you want to put into everything that's not you here, is the air. I don't know how to explain it. It's in Men in Black, when they went to go and talk to the guy that had the little globe, and they pulled out the body, and he pushed his button, and the head opened up, and this little teeny Indian guy was in there. So that is a really good representation of our soul, and how our soul drives our body, because our body is a mechanical function. So understanding that you are not your body, that you are not confined to being just in one place at one time, meaning you can be here now in the present, but I can remember something that happened last week that's going to change something next week.
Right.
And so that's all being in all these different dimensions at one time. But here on Earth, we have to be them all here at one time. Not on Earth, out of this 3D, out of this matrix or whatever, we are all those things at one time. We are still experiencing them. We are attached to them. We just can't see them.
Mm-hmm.
And as things got removed from our field of vision, meaning who we are on the inside, meaning being thrust into slavery, being thrust into victimhood, being thrust into whatever, where it removes your sovereignty of who you are. Because if I knew that you were just like me and I couldn't hurt me, I couldn't hurt you, right? But I don't. I, for some reason, feel hurt, so I'm going to divide you away from me. And then I'm going to make sure that you don't come back. I'm just going to start saying mean things about you to everybody else, and divide some more. And so for thousands of years, that's been going on in different ways and different means, and this is the end result. And right now the world is changing, and the air is changing, and our planet is changing, and all this new information is coming out to people when they're open, when they're meditating, when they're being kind to other people, when they are experiencing joy, when they're experiencing sorrow, when they accept who they are as a person.
That's like a spiritual awakening in a way. Like
Then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And a catalyst for that is a shared near-death experience, or catalyst for that is a near-death experience. But now our world is changing, and so now we're using other concepts like frequency and tone, and we know that vibrations can heal. We know that when we say things a certain way, it can bring tears to somebody's eyes, because they hear your soul, your emotion through things, and that's really a more in tune way of how we're supposed to be acting and interacting with each other. Right now, those same tones are being used to divide, and it is crushing the soul of everybody. I think, and so the near-death experience, there's so many more people flocking to those right now, because the words coming out of their mouth are hopeful and loving, and the truth.
But
See, to me, it sounds like a lot of what you're talking about. I mean, it's not just near-death experiences. We're talking about like like a multiverse in a sense. I mean, it sounds like you've kind of inadvertently touched on that. You've also touched a little bit on, like reincarnation and, so, but where does this all come from? Okay. Are we talking, how does this relate to something like, well, let me think, Christianity, or, I mean, or a God presence. I mean, these people, when they come back, do they feel more connected to the source?
Well, I want to touch on that before you answer him, because what he said in the beginning, a lot of these people, especially the site where we met, the near-death experience site, they all kind of had the same story. Like they saw the light and they felt this awakening towards, like, like I say, the Christianity or something, like as he put it, like they all have this awakening saying, they feel alive again. Like they felt a peace that they're not afraid to die again. Like, but they all technically either became a psychic or, a preacher or something that they're pushing forward to do good. I mean, touch on that one, Amy.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I spend a lot of time listening to what other people have to say. It all connects, and I know that's a frustrating way of looking at it. It's when I first started, they'd go, "Oh, it's all within you. The answers are within you," and I'd be like, "No, they're really freaking not in me, and they're not in you either." But ultimately, they were right. It. We live in a one-dimensional multi-universe as we are now. We are a person can wear lots of different hats. You're a talk show host, you're a father, you're a friend, you're a brother, you're a son, all of these different things. You are all of these things combined in one package, who you are right now, all those things. And you can switch being those things in and out all day long. You can be yelling at somebody who's not doing their job right, and then your wife can call and she can yell at you and you're going to completely change, but still demand that car be fixed the way that you said it needed to be.
Yeah.
So but because we live here on Earth, we don't, and because we just kind of assimilate into these different personalities, we don't think anything of it. But that is very much a multi-dimensional person, and someone who wears many hats. Now, how does it go back to the Bible? Well, these. I don't like to use. I don't like to. It's the quality of the tone of the voice reading the Bible and the intent of the person reading it that makes God come through the Bible, that makes Hashem come through the Torah, that makes, I don't know, whoever comes out of the ice cube, whatever you want to believe in. It's that love and that intent that makes that correct or not correct. Now, I know, as well as you know, and everybody else knows, that the Bible has been written so many times. It's even been rewritten since the time I left Catholic Church like 15 years ago. I went back for a funeral. They were saying things I had no idea. I'm like, one nation under God, and they're like, one nation under the shining. And it was just so different. And I thought, that's not God. And these people can't teach me God. They can't even follow the same text for their entire life. And, so from that point, the discernment of what I think God is, or what I think it could be from other people, has to be what they believe it is. There's truth in every single thing. Everybody holds a little piece of the truth, and you can hear that when you come through.
I want to say hi to a couple people. A little bit. What's up, Dustin? What's up? You saw that earlier, Dustin. You got a new nickname for him a little bit.
Waffle cakes.
The waffle cakes, but I'll show you. So we have a great crowd. Amy, everyone comes in and they come kind of to party and hang out and learn as we go.
Cool.
Because this is an educational part of like the near-death stuff. I mean, we're all learning too as a paranormal investigator, as I said with Lawrence last week or 2 weeks ago now. It's bi-weekly show. The fact that I want to know what's out there, being an investigator, I can't prove anything. Like EVPs, all that other crap that they use, like say a Ouija board or whatever. I can't prove it. I want to know what's more. So that's why the near-death is it's kind of a topic for me, because it's educating myself as I do more investigations.
Well, it is.
I'm sorry. It's kind of funny that Dom and I actually discussed this a little bit. Like, I told him that I actually wanted to do my own NDE show. And I'm still waiting for him to tell me where to get to this NDE page.
Oh,
where y'all hang out.
I'll send it to you.
Oh,
see you later.
It's a secret. It's a secret one.
Apparently it is. I need in.
You will be in. You'll be in.
Do you see the seriousness here?
But I want to touch on the God structure real quick, because I believe it was because I've been doing a little bit of research on this. I want to say his name is Howard Storm. He had a near-death experience, and he actually went to hell. But then he came back, and he's a preacher now. I don't know what church. I'm going to look into him. I'm actually looking to get him as a guest. Awesome. But with this, I believe his words were when somebody asked what God had said to him, because apparently God had talked to him, and what God do I believe in? And God apparently said to him, whatever God that you choose that brings you just closer to God itself and just love. That was his answer. And he was an atheist all his life to become a preacher with that. It makes you think. It makes somebody like me who's not religious rethink everything, like recoding. I don't know.
I think one of the important things about that type of actualization, which you actually are clearly going through, both of you guys are clearly going through an awakening. To me, it's very evident, very clear, and the part of the success for me has been to remain open as to what is coming my way. So it could be an alien person, it could be this person, it could be a total stranger, it could be me approaching a total stranger. It's starting to follow the tools you already have, which is your intuition. And then after your intuition, you have to validate because we're human, and we have to have these validations, especially because of the way this type of information has been portrayed. If you're religious, you can never obtain it because you're never going to be religious enough to understand it. If you're not religious, you're never going to obtain it because you don't believe in God. If you are, Islamic and you aren't, you're never going to obtain it if you don't do this. And all of this is just puts fear into everything. And the one commonality that everybody has, across the board, NDE, not just where they're going, is the no longer having fear of death.
Right.
Maybe 1 out of 1,000 people didn't like their vision of hell. But even people who have had multiple NDEs rarely have the same type of experience. I didn't. I see things and I don't really understand what I'm seeing. I was describing it the other night, and my husband's like, "Oh, chaos theory," and I got mad at him. I'm like, "No, it's not chaos. It's all organized. It's all." And he's like, "No, it's chaos theory." And then I had to argue some more, and then I went to go look it up, and he was absolutely correct. It is like that, and that's why everything is correct, and why there's nothing wrong. God gives us free will to make the decision. So even people who are trapped in hell, who have a belief in heaven and hell, once they are aided with their sovereignty, when they ask God for help in these scenarios, in these death scenarios, he plucks them right out, and that's the end of it, period.
So hell's not eternal.
I don't think any of that stuff is eternal. We're nothing but electromagnetic particles, really. If you go back and you look at people leaving their soul, or their soul leaving their body when they're dead, it's such a tiny, minute, little tiny blip.
Right.
That it's just, and we're just now being able to see that kind of stuff. So for when my mother died, and she took her final breath and she blew it out, and I had like a 3-day experience with her, but which I call the resurrection period. Anyway, so she took a breath in and she blew it out, and I was very close to her, like here, and she blew out her breath, and it went through me, and it felt like dry ice on my spine, like when you paranormal people step in the cold spot,
Right.
but see, this time that for you guys, that cold spot was external. For me, that cold spot was internal. So and when that happened, everything went black. And so I'm in the hospice room, and my mom's bed is in front, and the hospice nurse is on the other side of the bed. And my husband's over in the corner, and so that happens. She takes her breath. It goes through me. I don't think I'm gone anywhere, but when I was able to blow my breath back out, when I was able to move, my husband was right here and the nurse was right here, that I had, so I don't know. It was just black. And the experiences that I had with Mom prior to that were paranormal. I'll just go ahead. Um, the I'll go back a little bit. Should I? Yeah. Go.
Yeah.
Okay. So 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 my mom was from Wisconsin, and she was an only child. I'm an only child. And so very, very, we're friends. Everybody's very close, very small family, right? And anyway, I my mom's parents lived in Wisconsin, and one time I was probably about 4 or 5. Mom took me up there for the summer. I was outside. I was on the swing. It was rural Wisconsin, not far from some reservations, but there was this Indian that was walking through the woods, and I had this puppy, and I thought the Indian was going to shoot my puppy with the bow and arrow he had, and so I grabbed the dog and I hid behind the burn barrel. And as soon as I couldn't see him anymore. Then I ran to the house, and Grandma said, "Oh, it's your just imagination." So I thought, okay. Then when my grandfather died, we drove up there that night, and I went to bed, and they put me in a very small house, but they put me in Grandma and Grandpa's bed on Grandpa's side, which was facing the door, and I woke up with the light behind the door and Grandpa saying, take care of your mom and your grandma. And I said, I will. And that was it. I was 9 when that happened. I never told my mom about Grandpa. She was so distraught. And of course, it was her dad. And I just never told her. So fast forward to Mom getting sick and going into the hospital. And then we eventually put her into hospice. And it was the 23rd of December. And so I got a call that morning that something had changed. And so I went to the hospital, and, she was now nonverbal again. And they go, the body shuts down. And so hospice is really good at helping us through that process. And she was kind of moaning. She wasn't talking anymore. And I got in her bed with her. She was tracking something on the ceiling, and it was on the corner of the ceiling and the seam between the ceiling and the wall. And it was this bright light, and it would look like a pinpoint light. And I could see it when she was breathing. She would breathe in, and the light would kind of come in, and then she'd breathe out, and the light would pop out. And I'm watching this on the wall going, oh, it's just the strangest damn thing. And I don't know how long I was laying there. I don't know. The nurse came in. I got embarrassed because I was in bed with my mom, and I jumped out, and I thought I was just hallucinating things. So the next day is the Christmas Eve, and we're in there, and then all of a sudden, I'm talking with her, or I'm sitting next to her, and she's still nonverbal. All of a sudden, she opens her eyes, and she goes, "Oh, Amy, it is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm home, I'm home, I'm home." And I went, "Oh, crap." And then she goes, "Mother and Daddy." And I'm like, "Oh, crap," and I said, "So, Mom, where are you?" And she's like, Are you in Wisconsin? Are you in front of your house in Wisconsin? Because I thought for sure that's what she meant, that she was home. And she said, yes. A gong was heard, and then no, I'm just kidding. But she said, yes, I'm home. And I said, well, what are you waiting for? Go inside. And she goes inside, and she goes, oh, Mother or Dad. And then she starts talking about everybody sitting at the table, and they all have a piece of pie. And she talks about a poem about cheese on pie. I'm not sure I don't remember the poem. And she, her mother, who actually died in the same hospice room that my mother died in, which I thought was incredible. But she was there, Grandpa was there, and I thought, I'm just going to see if what I knew with Grandpa was right. So I started with the Indian. I said, Mom, when I was 4, and she said, I saw an Indian. She said, yep, the one that walks between worlds, you weren't supposed to see him. I'm like,
Mm.
oh, okay. That was really shocking. And then I asked her about Grandpa. Could you please ask? And before I finished, she said, yes, you did. Thank you very much, she says. And that was it.
Oh.
That was it. And so I knew for sure then that she was in heaven, and her body was here, but she was in heaven with them, or their first stage of that. Um, and then the third day was the day where she took her final breath, and then
Mm.
that went through. So it was a mystical. Uh, 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 uh,
Something, almost like there's almost no words for it when you really think about it. Like you could almost
mm-mm.
picture it, and you're the one that got to experience it, so it's almost
Mhm.
impossible to explain, right?
Well, it was, and I never knew that that would happen to anybody. I mean,
Well,
I never even that ever even dawned on me that that would ever happen to anybody. And so right afterwards, when Mom took her last breath and everything, and I knew she was gone. Oh, and that light up there on the ceiling later, I would go back and I would think about it, and I could start exactly where I left off, which was also told me it wasn't my imagination. It was a real thing, because I could go exactly right back to that same spot in my memory. But I would go back and I would think about it, and that light that was on the ceiling was uh, the kind of like the light of God. It's the tunnel. It was the tunnel, and it comes closer because it's got to catch your soul. It's on. So in my meditation later, I'm learning all this information about this light that I could physically see.
right.
My dad later, also, he was in the hospital, was in the ICU, also talked about a light on the ceiling. And so all of these uh, energies and all these beings and all the non-physical physicality that you as paranormal is, it should always come in on the left side, because that's where the seam is.
Well, yeah,
So
it's
so,
crazy that you're talking about that veil part. And just to touch real quickly, because I'm going to forget, because
mhm,
you're going deep into this. When
sorry.
people, when their family, no, it's great. I love it. When people are with their families at their final moments, the person at their final moments will sometimes say, "Hey, this person's here, that person's there." Like
Hmm.
there's the dog that we had and stuff like. I mean,
Right,
that's technically, I hate to say it,
right,
like that's the shit that's the real stuff that you know, and
right.
you can't prove any of that, but you know it.
Right, right. Well, you know it because it's true, and you hear the truth in their voice,
Mm-hmm.
and you just have to believe. It's they're making a connection for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're they're putting the pieces together for you. Here's something, most often. Okay, so when you're in that 3-day resurrection period, not when you die suddenly,
Mm-hmm.
but when you have when you get to go to hospice, and stuff. Um, so so when that loved one comes back, even if they just say hi, just one word,
Mm-hmm.
their soul is what's talking to you through their filter, which is their body. Their soul isn't, they're still connected, but their soul is not in experiencing all this physical pain. You
Right.
know, that you that the the organic pain that they express during during that quiet period of time is really just mm, a reverberation of their of their organic body. Their
Right.
soul isn't in pain.
Right.
Right. So
Well,
and
that's what
and
the doctors say it too. Like
right.
when I research this, like they talk about the light. The scientists talk about the light. It's interesting you brought that up, and they're trying to debunk all that. And they, they're talking about when a person technically their organs are dead or their brain dead, that they are no longer in pain. Their
Right.
body looks like they're in pain, but their
Mhm.
brain, the function of the brain, is no longer technically there. They're
Right.
brain dead and can't feel any of this. So.
Right. Well, their soul, um, I love the band Tool. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. Okay, so now I've got Tool running through my head. Through my head. They are probably the most on point um, uh, knowers and sharers of knowledge that I've never, there's lots of information in songs, lots of information in movies and television and books. It's all there. All of these experiences exist, but Tool, they've really got some good theories working that I agree with. So singing it in my head now.
Well, they're like scientists of music, so they're using like vibrations and stuff too. I've kind of like studied them a little bit.
Yeah, they study theosophy, which there's the Theosophy group of the United States. They're amazing. I don't read books because I don't want someone else's opinion to tarnish what I am ingesting. It's I can reference if I'm talking to someone who needs some extra attention or some love or something, and I can pull something out of my brain someplace. If they're Bible readers, I'll pull something that will mean something to them, and they can go look it up, and it completely amazes me all the time. I can't believe that happens. That's real. But anyway, Theosophy came from the 20s. It would be right in par with Cassadaga. And in fact, I'm not sure that I bet that Cassadaga actually is a division of Madame Blavatsky's Theosophy up in New York, because they were in the same area. I've never even thought about that, but I bet they're connected.
Check this out real quick. Hold your thought. Aaron Robbins says this: I had retreated into my soul, separating from my body. While my body was going into seizure and turning blue from lack of oxygen, I was in peace. So, and a little bit, I kind of agree, because I'm not a doctor. She had said this, even if they are brain dead, they still experience pain. They just can't tell you, that these are things that, I can't explain it. As I'm studying, I'm trying to learn this myself. So, yeah.
Well, and really, there is no explanation, just that it just is. And so what do you need for you to change your mindset to accept that it just is?
Right.
How many coincidences do you need? How many acts of messaging do you get? Because you get everything that you ask for. It comes right back to you. The questions that you ask, the things that you want, it's funny. People will say, I want $1 million. No, well, sure, who wouldn't? But why do you want it? I want $1 million so that I don't have to worry about paying my mortgage. I want $1 million so that I can go and do fun things with my family. So then when you have a reasonable mortgage and you do have, the opportunity to share an Airbnb with your friends, down at down in Orlando, you're actually getting what you ask for. But you spend all this time looking for it all the way over here, and it's right in front of you all the time, and always is.
Now, what do you think of because we only got, what do we have? We have 20 minutes left. I want to talk about the psychic aspect of things. When they have the near-death experience. This is opening up the brain. And Dustin, if you have any other question too, because we got 20 minutes on this subject, please shoot. Let's do this.
He's so really quick. Yeah. Really quick. Aaron Robbins, do me a favor, please. Hit me up on Facebook. I'd like to have a more in-depth conversation with you if that's possible. So if you can, my name's Dustin Heisey. That's Heisey. Hit me up on Facebook. Let's connect.
And Dustin, tell him he could write inside the messenger of the BB3 as well. So if you're watching through the BB3 TV, write BB3, and we'll get you right to Dustin. Aaron Robbins. That one for you. Cool.
Yeah, reach out to me. I'd like to have an in-depth conversation with you. So I apologize. I needed to say that. No, I'm just listening and I'm taking it all in. So now I'm curious about one thing. Now, forgive me if I've missed this. Okay. You had a shared near-death experience with your mother, correct?
Yeah.
So you didn't actually come near to death. But you were just in the presence of her while she was in transitioning, and you had that experience. Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting. I didn't know that was something that was that's possible.
Right.
But so now these people that come back, they come back from the dead, essentially, or being nearly dead.
Mhm.
And they come with like these enhanced like abilities to
Mhm.
see things. They so it's almost like they've been like woke, you
Mhm.
know. They and once you've reached that, I'm assuming there's no going back. Like you
Mhm.
can't turn the switch off once the switch is turned on. Is that right?
Right.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Exactly right. Because it burns off a layer of this veil, and I have no idea what this veil is. But that electric, again, going back to the energy that your body carries, the energy field your body has around you, when it intermixes with the energy field of a I think if you were to measure the energy field of somebody who was dying, and I don't know how you would do that, something would be similar, would be watching the brain function
Mhm.
diminish during the dying process. I would guess that it would be the same for the electric magnetic part of your body. Interestingly enough, this information isn't new. It's just
Right.
been hidden for a very, very, very long time, and and for good reason, probably, because the practice of leaving your body, now some people do the out of body and they go travel the universe, and I really don't know what to think about that. I can't
Astral?
feel. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really don't know. I don't. I think that there are people who spend a lot of time and energy directing a piece of their energy into one particular method, and the end achievement is out of body travel. I don't know. But this electromagnetic field, when the soul leaves the body, and travels to heaven and has this experience and then comes back in, is no longer contained in the same electromagnetic field than it was before. And so the veil is lifted from them. Now, I did not go to heaven. I did not have the whole in experience there. Um,
Mhm.
so, so but I had a very physical experience. And when that happened, there was no denying that something had happened, and but I had no idea what that meant. So uh, in my searching for things, I discovered, and I am not going to go into conspiracy theory, but I discovered the long lineage of
Be careful, you're getting into my territory
I was
now.
gonna say, Amy, get a hold of Dustin for off the cuff on this one. This would be a good
mhm.
one.
Yeah, my grandmother was the grand matron for the uh, they are not letting me say it today for the Eastern Star group. So anyway, but I had watched a video not too long ago, and the person had gone way, way, way back, and discovered that it was used to be practice that the Templars would be able to pretty much kill themselves, come out, go to have this experience, and get the world knowledge of how to do things, and then come back and apply it. And that is the secret the Templars have been hiding for the thousands of years. So I found this video quite fascinating because it really validated my thought that you leave your soul and it comes back through, and then this layer is burned off. Also experiencing that type of energetic transfer allowed me to have some of my veil burned off, although I can't see. I can see, but I can't. It's weird. It's a whole different. It's a lot. Um, I, I,
Like
I
the
never
inner gut.
turned it off.
Yeah, it's
Go
like the
ahead.
inner gut, like you just knowing, like, are you speaking on the intuition again? Like technically you could see it without technically you just know it's there. Like
Well,
you could technically put your hand through a wall that we can't see.
Well, I used to just go on feeling, but then I would start to have pictures that go with the feelings, and so I might be talking to you,
Mhm.
but behind you, I might see the multidimensional you. I might
Right.
see, Insane Clown Posse, or maybe something from the Doors behind.
Yeah.
just
No,
kidding.
I get it. I
Um,
get what you
but yeah,
exactly what
so
you're saying.
so all of these aspects of are you, but I now so I see all of this all at once, and so a lot of times these and a lot of the new age gurus, they would be like, oh, well, you could do this with your energy. Well, I was doing it, and I also started drawing
Oh,
spontaneously,
yeah,
and
let's show a
yeah.
few of these real quick. We'll go into here. These are some of Amy's drawings. Let me go back into an overlay, and I'm gonna do this one kind of quick, but we'll
Yeah.
talk about it. Each one. Here's
Yeah.
one right off the bat.
Yeah, yeah. See, I don't even know what that is, except that I just love it. It's one of my favorite ones.
Looks to
Um,
me like it's an angel who's crouched and
yeah, it's
it's like she's perched.
right, right. I have a few different, I have a few different pictures with the dark ones. It always reminds me that it's always an upward view down, which I don't have. So a lot of the stuff that I would understand and start to know or have good understanding about through daydreaming.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you're fine.
cats. Um, uh, I it would just be there, and I would be like, "What the hell is going on?" And I'd be talking to ancient aliens, or my husband would be talking, watching it, and I'd be saying, "Well, they're not giving you the answers. They're missing the big piece. The big quartz rocks blocks. They go in the bottom of the pyramid. Why aren't these people understanding that? That's how it is." And of course they got stolen, and of course they got disseminated, and because that was an energy source, and it's gone, and it could be Peru, it could be any of those places. They're all the same.
I like that you draw for your. I'm going to show these the last two,
Mhm,
and then we'll talk about them real quick. Here's one of them. This one you sent me right there.
mhm.
It's and then you have your third one right
Hmm.
here, which you have a ton more. These are the ones I had to
Yeah.
show.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'll show it again.
Why is that interesting for you?
Well, to me, it looks like we're in the center of a universe,
Mhm.
and it's like it's like the universe is exploding out, and it's almost like becoming part of the entire universe. That's just the feeling that I get looking at that. It's
Mhm.
like all of a sudden the energy is just going out everywhere, and we're no longer the one. We
Men in
are
Black theory.
all.
That yeah. So that is a really good interpretation of that, and yeah, it. I have a couple more that go with that. There's one that's just daytime, the same look. We've been having a lot of solar flares happen lately, and then also the Schumann resonance within our core is starting to increase, and as that continues to increase, it'll auto-generate, self-generate some energy coming through, and magnetics are a good way that particles and everything kind of come together and disseminate. So, there's theories out there that say that that one of the solar flares that will be pulling something in from the backside of the sun through, because it's all magnetic. It'll go this way and then that way and this way and that way, and pulling some energy through and striking our planet, not necessarily in a catastrophic way, because it happens all the time, but it will be enough so that it radiates a gamma reaction. And gamma rays are really healing, especially for people who are going through chemotherapy and
Mhm.
other radiation treatments. They do things like, I don't know, cure cancer. So if I were to envision a perfect instance of something like that to happen, where people all over the world were automatically healed, just because they had their feet on the ground at the right time, so that a burst of energy and health and and uh, and healing comes,
To
blows
get the
all the bad
filter.
out. Hmm. So that's what I would guess that picture might be like.
Love it. I love it. All right, so we are at our closing time. Amy, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I know you have so much to offer. And absolutely, is there any way that people get a hold of you if they need some guidance or talk about, some of these subjects?
Oh, yeah, please. Yeah, I got stuck in this loop of people charging you big money for just stupid things. And I don't want other people to have to go through that. I would rather them bombard me. But I'm sure you'll put my name up on here, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty easy to find on Facebook. I do have a Facebook page called Divine Abstract, where I have a lot of my drawings. I have not updated that very often. I have put the pencils down and started just going out in the community more. I like to be nice to people. I like to go out and say hello to people and do nice things. So I am always up for talking to more people. And I really want people to know that the answer is a yes. Whatever the question is, whatever they think, whatever they want to do, the answer is yes. Yes. Yeah.
That's great.
All right.
All right.
I just liked it. I just liked your
you.
page.
Oh, awesome.
I think I'm fascinated by your artwork. I'm going to go in there and take a look at a bunch more of that for sure. But John, appreciate you having me on board with this, man. I feel like you only scratched the surface a little bit here. You know, my fascination goes so deep. I really want to pick your brain myself. So I may send you an invite to be on my show.
I would love that.
One of these times, because really want to start digging into your brain. So watch for a friend request from me here shortly after the show.
Oh, that is so exciting. I'm so excited. Thank you so much.
For Dustin, before we do completely say goodbye to Amy, Dustin, I'm going to put you on full screen, and I kind of want you to talk about the show on BB3 off the cuff real quick. Dustin, the floor is yours.
All right, well, guys, I do a show here on BB3 that's it's every Tuesday, every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And look, man, it's like I said in the beginning of the show, it's all talk. It's just real people, real talk. It's off the cuff, nothing scripted. You know, I do spend a little bit of time preparing, but really the conversation flows the way it flows. And we encourage audience participation. And the more you get involved, the more we can do. And the more that we can kind of bring you into the show, essentially. So that's what we love about it. And we also have a show at 10 a.m. Saturday morning with resident health and fitness guru Mark Connors. The guy is he is a genius. He's super smart, super healthy, super fit. Anybody who's struggling with those types of things, definitely tune in Saturday morning at 10 a.m. You don't want to miss it. It's just a ton of information. It's solid gold, giving it away for nothing. It doesn't cost you a dime, just a little bit of your time, and you can use the information practically. So that's come join the show Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. We'd love to see you there.
Dustin, thank you for that one. It off the cuff is a fantastic show.
Appreciate that.
I can't say it enough that he's become a brother of mine, and BB3 is becoming an entire family. This is what we do. We network out. We want to push out people like you, Amy, who have a story. Amy, at this point, we are going to say goodbye. I do want to say thank you one more time.
You are most welcome. Thank you. I really appreciate your time, and I appreciate you seeing me.
Absolutely, and I hope we did you justice over here at the BB3 TV.
Before you go, how do you spell your last name for me real quick?
Pomar, Pomar.
On the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, are you listed as that, or is...
on my Facebook page, there would be my middle name. My maiden name is Zaborik. So
okay, gotcha. Boom, friend request sent. There you go.
I will get it in a second.
Time.
I see that. I like that about you. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you again soon.
All right, I'm going to pull you guys on the bottom real quick. Dustin, see you in a moment. All right, guys, thank you once again for joining me over here on Back from the Dead, the ND Experience, and more. We have a lot of cool things coming up. It's bi-weekly. 2 more guests coming on, and then I think I'm going to start doing a little bit explorations of graveyards while I'm still here in Florida. So there's I want to do a little bit with the Gettysburg when I'm up there. There's a Confederate graveyard here I want to hit. There's just a lot of great history that needs to be put out there as far as the paranormal and just the history of everything. But you guys, I want to say thank you again, and welcome to BB3 TV. Like, share, and follow. Everyone have a great night.